We are a generation born into computers. Simply to imagine life without them is quite obscure. Do you remember buying your first computer from Circuit City or maybe even CompUSA? Maybe you bought a Compaq, a Gateway, or perhaps your salesman proudly said, "Dude, you're getting a Dell." Yes, computers run our lives, but there is one man who is arguably at the center of it all. One man who defined personal computers as we know and love them today. And he is quite literally the powerhouse that dominated the world of computers and still does to this day. This is the true and shocking story of the man behind the screen, tugging at the wires. None other than Bill Gates. Chapter 1. Bit by Bit.
You've got mail.
There are many global conglomerates, but there is not one as influential, notable, or renowned in their field as Microsoft. None are as synonymous with its founder as Microsoft is with Bill Gates. If I say Bill Gates, you probably automatically think Microsoft. His fascination with computers was the primary factor of Microsoft's origins, right? What may surprise you is that Bill Gates wasn't the only founder of Microsoft. In fact, in 1975, Bill Gates and his partner and friend at the time founded the company together as a team. Microsoft, a name combined from the words microcomputer and software, would not be what it is today if it weren't for the skills of programmer Paul Allen and the force he gave to Bill Gates. It's worth noting that Gates' love of computers would not have begun if it wasn't for his parents. William Henry Gates III, son of William H. Gates Sr., a prominent lawyer, and Mary Maxwell Gates, a businesswoman on the board of directors for First Interstate Bank System and the United Way of America. Oh yes, Bill Gates was born into a world of privilege. And it was this upbringing that paved the way for his success and prominence. Bill actually failed to achieve academically as a child, so his parents shipped him off to Lakeside, a prestigious school in Seattle. And what did Lakeside possess that the majority of schools did not in 1968? Well, gee golly whiz, they had a computer. It was here that Gates had his first brush with technology. Rumor has it, he learned about computers bit by bit. Chapter 2. Losing Control. In 1981, Microsoft experienced its first big wave of success. While this should have been a great time to pop bottles of bubbly and celebrate big achievements, the company instead comes under fire for their role in monopolizing the tech industry. Why, you ask? Microsoft's early success can actually be traced back to a single moment in time, when they bought the rights to an early operating system, 86-DOS, which was the critical moment that made it possible for Microsoft to succeed. Once this particular software reached its pinnacle, Microsoft sold it to IBM for a large sum of money. Money that allowed them to grow to unbelievable heights. This kind of deal in business is usually cause to celebrate and an assurance that the company is on the right path. Alas, in 1985, after only 8 years with Microsoft, Paul Allen unexpectedly decided to walk away from the blossoming business. The records show that his reason for leaving was due to his battle with Hodgkin's lymphoma. But in his 2011 novel, Idea Man, a memoir by the co-founder of Microsoft, Paul tells a different story. Paul reveals that both Gates and the former CEO at that time, Steve Ballmer, hatched a plan to rip him off by reducing his share in the company. In his book, Allen literally quotes the plan that Gates hatched. It was an act of mercenary opportunism. And this is not the first time we've heard of Gates displaying unjust behavior while reigning over the keyboards at Microsoft. Chapter 3. Burning Cash. Soon, we discover Gates' ill treatment of his own lifelong friend and co-founder. It makes one wonder, how would he treat those who are not in his inner circle? In 1996, over 8,000 current and previous employees brought a lawsuit against Microsoft. They claimed that Microsoft scammed them out of benefits, pensions, stock options, and even holidays due to the fact that they were stuck on temporary or freelance contracts. You see, keeping employees on a temporary basis means that you avoid paying them benefits and ultimately save the company thousands of dollars.
That's not a gray area. That's theft. You're a thief.
Microsoft exploited this loophole in mass. Thousands of employees were regularly contracted out for years with the company, instead of making them permanent employees and giving them the full-time benefits that they deserved. This was a clear lack of regard for the well-being of Microsoft employees, and it's just one insight into the advantageous mindset that Gates has. In the end, the case was dealt with out of court and Microsoft settled for $97 million. For the average person or even business owner, this would have been a devastating blow to the finances. But for Bill Gates and Microsoft, this was merely a drop in the bucket. As of 2023, Bill Gates is worth $103.7 billion, while Microsoft as a company is worth $1.78 trillion. Chapter 4. Alt F4. For the Bill Gates media machine fanboys and girls, we're sorry to pop the delusion. Many will argue that the good deeds of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation counterbalances the bad caused by Microsoft. And of course, one could even suggest that Bill Gates had no personal impact on the mistreatment of Microsoft employees. But what if I said that even biographers who have written on Bill Gates have witnessed his abrasive, childish rants and even childlike temper tantrums? Would you believe that he could be capable of such mindless self-ambition then? Or what if I told you that it was only in 2008 that Gates was involved in multiple sexual harassment reports? For our sharp viewers who are aware of Billy's troubled history with female employees, you'll know that it was in 2008 that he removed himself from day-to-day involvement in Microsoft. Could the real reason for his stepping away from Microsoft be less to do with a desire for philanthropy and more to do with the harassment case? If you are still not convinced, surely you will find it easier to do so when I remind you that it was in 2021 that Gates entirely stepped down from the company. And what else happened in 2021? Why, it was his affair with a 20-year-old female employee when it became public news. So public, in fact, that it encouraged his wife Melinda to file for divorce. Chapter 5. Bill Gates does the billing. And of course, it is not without reason that I also mention the corruption of Gates's charity, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Time and time again, Bill Gates has used his charity as a way to distract the public from the light of scandal. For example, Gates' ties to convicted sex trafficker for the rich and famous, Jeffrey Epstein. It was only when questioned about his relationship with Epstein did Gates admit that he had visited the Epstein Island many times, but he claimed he was only looking for donations, even though his wife at the time disapproved of the frequent meetings. And let's not forget how the vicious rumor mill has found numerous pieces of proof that ties Gates' charity to embezzlement. Here's a fun fact about the charity. Did you know that the Gates Foundation repeatedly avoids paying 5% of their taxes every year, which it legally should pay to the US government to maintain its tax-free charity status? This is due to the fact that the Gates Foundation trust assets are mostly in stock, and unsurprisingly, stock is not limited to the 5% annual return. If that does not reek of corruption, then let's add the additional reminder that many of the stocks include investments into companies that the charity is supposed to be fighting. The lack of morals in a charity is astounding, but the fact that they continue to get away with it is even more damning. Chapter 6. Just press F5. Bill Gates is a man who came from everything, and he chose to live a life where he got to play hero while destroying the lives of thousands. He's a man who created a company from the pockets of his parents with an ill partner whom he left out in the dust. Bill Gates is not an honorable man. He associates himself with convicted criminals, steals money from the government, lies to the public about his own moral beliefs, and does not have a shred of integrity to hold. The origins of Microsoft is not an inspiring story of an up-and-comer, but instead a tragic tale about corruption, power, and how far money can take you when you live life without a set of morals. Love pizza? You may never want to eat Domino's again after watching this video. Did you know about this school that used shock therapy on children as recent as 2020? If you're interested in the spoiled lives of the ultra-rich and the corruption of mass conglomerates, then join me in these videos now. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.